Alright. Fermi filter. If I recall correctly, that's the, idea in science fiction and the future that there is a hard line where humanity cannot cross when it comes to, like, generating a, higher level civilization. Like, because we've never observed galaxy-spanning aliens, and because the universe has been up for a number of years, we have to conclude there's something stopping galaxy-spanning aliens. And eventually, we are going to come into that filter as well. Right? There's a certain level of society you can reach before it all falls to pieces. Oh, I'm playing a soul bad guy. Oh, you didn't want to fight me. Oh. How sad. Okay, fine. I will fight you then, Chief. Oh. Give me a match. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is we don't know what it is. But if there could be a civilization capable of spanning the entire galaxy, why isn't there, is the idea. What's stopping there from being aliens everywhere? Look at Soul's outfit. Look at his pink jacket. Oh, to be fair, I really do like Nagoriyuki's outfit. It's super stylish. Accursed monster. You're one to talk.
Versus Nagoriyuki. Duel 1. Let's rock.
That's bad. Oh, he got me. He got me. Special place. Wall break. Well, that's the idea, is with the time we've had, how come there isn't an alien race that can just map out every star? There we go, another wall break for me, Chief. Ah. Got him! He pressed a button when I was in Blood Rage and didn't to make it a true combo. What a coward. Don't press buttons. No. This Soul's actually decent. This Soul is good. I feel like he would get trounced by my, Oh, that's bad. That was bad. I thought he was going to dive in. He blocked my counter. He got me. He got me. No, that was a read. That was a read. Good job, Chief. Wow, okay. The idea is that it's been such a long time, you're running into a monkeys and typewriters situation, where eventually, with given enough time, any civilization would progress to the theoretical ability to do, functionally anything. So we don't know why nobody has. Is it true that we're unique? That's statistically incredibly unlikely. That's bad for me. That's bad for me, Chief. But he's bad worse for him, bruh! Oh. No, that was it. That was it. He got me. Yeah, being unable to prove something, unable to disprove something is very different. Exactly. Yeah. We can't prove that it's impossible. In fact, we can never really prove anything is impossible. That damage, though. Ow. Okay, that's it. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Yes, hypothetically. Although I will admit I'm not as familiar with the concept of Turing completeness as I would have liked. I've not really done enough research into it. I've just read about the abstract. So I don't really know how it applies realistically. Ow. No, it's gonna be bad. That's gonna be my whiff. Got him. You're not alone. No, we're not doing this. Oh, okay, just wasn't blocking. Yeah, that was good. That was really good on his part. Oh, okay, yeah. Can I get him with this? Can I get him with this? No. No, that was it. That was just bad. Whew, I came close to getting that, though. That was cool. That was cool. Yeah. On the topic of my opinion about the Fermi barrier is... The Fermi filter is... Honestly... Again, I don't think it's entirely a, like, completely sound argument. It makes sense. You don't think it will ever send life forms across the galaxy? I think that's not really a fair assumption. Because, again, we don't know why or why not, right? For all we know, it could be that there's wormhole technology, or space folding technology, or magic. Whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter. Oh, hey, hitbox. Oh, never mind. This is cross-up stuff. Lame. Oh, this guy's gonna fight me again. Okay, sure. I'll take him out. I'll challenge him one more time. Yeah, we don't really know why there's... Like, why we can't. Right now, with our understanding of technology, you're right. It's not really feasible that at any point, galaxy-spanning travel will not be a thing. But we don't really have a good why not. Again, assuming our current understanding of how we can travel through space. Well done, how dare you? Never too late to bend the knee. I won't face my doom, sayonara. Chomp. I'll keep going for it if he keeps giving it to me. It's a 50-50, I love it. It's my one, like, really good pressure tool that I'm very satisfied with. Slide kill. The moon falling in spring. Moon hangs during the day. No, we're not doing this. Ow. He's gonna slide under me. Ow, okay. This is bad. No, I thought I can get him. How dare you? Never too late to bend the knee. When hell freezes over side. Oh boy. Oh, we don't know. We can only assume as such. So what do you fight for? You deny your thirst. Now it's time to feast. Got him. Universe ends travel far enough. What comes after that? Right, more universe. Not realistically. Well, not guaranteed. We don't know. That's the thing, is we don't actually know. No, we're not doing this. Nice. Oh, God. Why is nothing impossible? We don't know if nothing's impossible. It could just be nothing. Why couldn't it be nothing? Yeah, give me this Geo.
Are you ready?
What? What do you mean? If we're in a perfect vacuum, and there's no light, no particles, nothing, the room is empty.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Nope. Okay. Well, no, the thing is, we don't know if there's something out there. It's not that there is. We just know that we can't observe anything that there, right? Oh, okay. That was not good. Get real. Keep it real. Nope. Okay, I need to stop pressing buttons and wake up. No. That was it. She got me. That was a good read, Geo. That was a good Geo read. Alright. Again, just pressure. Just pressure.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Oh, no, we're not doing this. Ooh, nice grab. No? No, it doesn't. We have the absence of sight. We don't necessarily see. We've also, remember, we've never set up an experiment where we can truly see nothing, right? Oh, she got a counter off. That's not good. If our eyes just don't see anything, it means that our eyes just are not observing any light. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have something else going on, right? We've never set up an experiment where there's truly been nothing on either side of the situation. What? What? Oh, I forgot my blood. Yeah. The problem with that is, again, their eyes stop receiving data. So their brain has to do something. The brain doesn't, like, the brain still works. That's the problem, is the people who see nothing, quote-unquote, there, have a brain that attempts to view the inputs, which are 0, as a pattern, because that's what human brains are really good at. We're not doing this again. I wasn't gonna block there. Ooh, that was good. No. Okay. Yes. Okay, so first of all, the problem with your methodology there is that in order to observe a color, you have to be able to conceptualize the color. A person who has been blind from birth would never have conceptualized the color black. I thought I had enough. No, I didn't. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All good. Okay. Then again, then what you are seeing, this nothing, is the brain's attempt to conceptualize its new information. And again, remember, a lack of data is data in of itself. The brain can interpret that, hey, we're looking at something. Or we're trying to. How come I can't see? Oh, it must be because of X, Y, Z, or Q. One of these variables is causing me to not be able to see right now, so I will attempt to interpret it this way. It's not because there's some magical specter of color that they've lost access to. Their brain is just attempting to interpret this information the way it knows how, which unfortunately the human brain kinda sucks at new ideas. The human brain's really, really good at pattern recognition. Not necessarily pulling ideas out of space, unfortunately. Alright, I'm not good against pots. I'm not very good against pots, but we're gonna see how this goes. Well, no, that's the thing. Is again, they don't see a color. They see whatever their brain decides to show them when they can't see. Your death.
Duel 2. Let's rock.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That was good. Nice punish, Pot. Ow. No, that's the thing, is they don't see nothing. They do. Their brain stops observing inputs. So they don't see some magical specter of what the existence of nothing. Their brain just stopped getting information from that channel, which is normal for that brain to do. Well, it's what the brain does normally, right? It's not what I want to do at all. Fuck. I heard Megaphisto start, so I gotta cancel that. That was okay, yeah. What? No, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The brain tries to figure out what to do. Okay, I thought he was going to be closer to me. Exactly. So the brain just decides to do whatever the brain does. Which we don't know because we can't look at our own brain and see its decision-making processes. We're not really good enough at that yet. We can try to make vague generalizations. Okay. I'm not doing this. Yes, but we don't know why the brain chooses to display the information it does how we do it, right? Like, there's a reason why we, like, don't understand where dreams come from, or that we don't know certain things about... Oh, alright. It's more along the lines of, you can't declare there is. Whether or not we're more educated or knowledgeable, if you want to declare that we know there's something out there, this isn't a good track, because particularly when it comes to brain science, we can't really know. And that's the big problem, is you're saying it's guaranteed that X, and I'm saying it might be, but we can't prove it. And then you tried to use an unprovable thing to prove your case, is the problem. It's more of a, not particularly medical, you could have done this down a physics case or a chemistry case, and whatever the case it would have ended up being was that you tried to use a theory as a proof, which doesn't work. As fun as it would be if we could. That'd be nice. I wish I could just yell at people until I was right. Oh yeah, I want to fight another soul bad guy. Although I'm probably going to have to give it a call pretty soon. My thumb is starting to die. It's also really hot in here for some reason. Open the window a bit more. Qualities. It has been proven? No. It's been proven that they see quote-unquote nothing. That's the thing, is that's okay. The problem with there is saying that because they see nothing, that must prove this, right? Which you can say that, oh, well, all signs that lead to this are the way. But that's the problem. Wow, that wasn't what I expected to have happen at all. Yeah, Soul does nasty damage with combos. Press on a button. Wow. This comes out so fast. Look at that damage, though. I pressed one mistake, and that's 2/3 of my hit points bar gone. Ow. What? Oh, okay. No. Okay. So, do you understand how light loses its energy over time, right? That's a constant we're going to assume. Anything does. When you look up into space, just because you can't see something doesn't mean something's out there. On Earth, or like, it definitely means there's a wall in the way here. But in space is pretty big. There's a lot of time for it to lose energy. And we know that. So when we make telescopes and stuff, they're refracting what little light is left. They're factoring what little light is left into a more concentrated part, allowing us to essentially zoom in. So because of that, we can see more and more and more. When we get to the edge of what we can see... What? No, they're completely different. It's like saying, okay, what you're trying to say is, because when we look at all dogs, we see they've got 4 legs. If I look at something with 4 legs, it must be a dog. That's not quite what we're going for. Just because they share a similar outcome doesn't mean they're caused by the same sources. Right? If that makes sense? Wow, that goes way farther than I thought. It goes all the way across the screen, I guess. What? No. No. You can look at, for example, a giraffe. A giraffe has 4 legs and fur on it. Does that make it a dog? No. But they both have 4 legs, so it must be a dog. No. But we've proven that dogs have 4 legs. That doesn't make that giraffe a dog. Man, I'm getting salty. No, that's not at all the argument. No. I'm not trying to bring animals into this, really. I'm trying to use this as a relative for how we get to where we're at. I need to not play a soul when I'm trying to give this argument at all. That goes under me. Okay. When you close your eyeballs, the eyelids go over your eyes, it stops light from getting in. When you look up at something really far away and there's no light coming in, you see the same thing. It doesn't mean that there's a screen in front of the thing, or behind the thing. There's just light, or more accurately, an absence thereof. And your brain infers this absence of light as the color black. Because if you look at a black object, all the light that's being reflected off of it is being absorbed. Thick enough. That's the point. Yes, if you close your eyes and you look at the sun, you can still see where there's light coming in from. But most of it gets blocked by your eyelids. Right? If you look up and you can see and turn towards the light, you'll know that your eyelids are stopping most of it. In the same way that if something's really far away and you can only see pinpricks of stars, you know the distance is stopping most of it. This doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be a wall between you and the light. It's just that some of the light is not making it to you. That's the important question there. I need to turn this into a philosophy stream. Or more accurately, I need to turn this into a scientific proofs stream. You can dropkick people. That's pretty cool. Alright. What is countdown? I want to know how do you check your rating on a ladder? Alright.
Are you ready?
Oh, it's a May player. Yeah, but only a portion of the light gets it to you. Because the light begins to spread out and lose energy over time. It's why we're not instantly blinded when the sun is there. Yeah, exactly, Wolf. We lose most of the energy there. Okay. No, it doesn't. Everything loses energy over time, Chris. It's called entropy. It's a universal factor. Okay, it didn't work. Light does not travel infinitely. That's the point. Everything loses it over time. Universal entropy is a factor. Sure, it loses more if it stops on a need to... What? No, they keep bursting at the wrong time. If you throw a live grenade, it'll drop to the floor, but it's still a live grenade. Yes, until it explodes, because it's on a timer. Eventually, it will blow up. Before if the ground's far enough away. What the hell is that counterbox actually? That was good. That was a good combo. I got wall combo there by the May. That was decent, actually. Alright. Oh, I got kicked down to 8. Oh, tear. Oh well.
Move on to the next floor.
Magic.
Welcome.
It's a video game. How come Monster Hunter characters can do anything? How come a spaceship can fly in Elite Dangerous? How come you can have unlimited missiles in Ace Combat? How come a Call of Duty guy can instantly reload any weapon despite not having the right magazines and, like, infinitely scavenge ammo? Right? Like, whatever the case, video game. You fudge physics to make it work. Ow. No, we're not doing this. Yeah, exactly. Clark's Law. Any sufficiently advanced technology is functionally magic. Yeah, exactly. And this is a very unrealistic way. How come there's a giant vampire samurai? Vampires aren't real. Like, maybe the anchor's made out of styrofoam. Maybe it's hollow inside. You can justify it if you wanted to, but, like, at the same time, you don't need to. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I thought he was gonna do the block. Yeah, right? Counter. Like, if you are a kind of person who only ever plays Microsoft Flight Sim, then yes, you can start trying to call out video games on being unrealistic. Maybe. I don't want to do this. Ah, she got me. I need to start blocking, right? Yeah, not do this. I'll play this weird game of just stopping to block. Yeah, okay, so that's really plus. I just need to get past that. Also, I'm sorry, Chris. You're gonna have to prove to me that vampires are real. If you want me to buy that you believe in vampires, you're gonna have to at least prove without reasonable doubt that somebody who functions like a vampire exists. And has magical blood powers, first of all. And can transmit these, like, if you want to argue, otherwise you have to argue, you have seen some? No, otherwise you could prove it. If you don't believe in them, then you can't have seen them. That's how observational science works. If you have seen it, you either must believe in it or believe it is fake. So you can't not believe it and see it. Yeah. Like, is it just fake and not real? If so, yeah, sure. Define proof, something that can't be seen. What? Because that's what a proof is. Something that... No, we're not doing this. Poke. Okay. So you're gonna have to define, I think vampires in the form as my postulated. Like, so you have to essentially define a vampire and say this being is real. Then that's okay, sure. But I'm gonna challenge that a vampire is also scientific, like, culturally, something that is a magical blood-sucking human that has a set of powers and beliefs, or beliefs associated with the set of powers, I should say. Nope. I got hit. So, like, if you want to say, well, a vampire is a creature that sucks blood, then I'm going to challenge, that's a shitty definition of a vampire. Because it means that I'm going to have to use a different word to describe what I would culturally call a vampire before now. Right? No, we're not doing this. Oh, that... Oh, I was trying to do this. Okay. I couldn't just do my input there. I was trying to do my super, and I just couldn't get it out. I'm just bad at that. Yeah. It's set because you are unknown. You have a proof that it clears the science of one thing. You say, there are beings that are human, that survive entirely on blood, and have magical powers because of such. Are you going to challenge that being the definition of a vampire? If so, you want to challenge, okay, well, redefine it for me. Choose what is a vampire, then. And then I can attempt to challenge your definition and say, well, that's not what a vampire is, right? We have to come to some clear consensus of what we are trying to prove or disprove, right? Otherwise, I can just say, well, I personally treat the game of soccer as a competition in where 3 people eat hot dogs as fast as they can, and then go and say, Italy didn't win a soccer championship because they didn't eat any hot dogs. Okay, so not all vamps are magical. Okay, give me one power that a vampire has that nobody else has. Something unique to vampires. If there is nothing, then we have to try to come to a conclusion of, why is that a vampire then? Why is that not just some other creature? Super strength. Okay. So there is somebody who consumes blood and blood alone, gains super strength, as in the ability to, I don't know, lift a car, or lift 10 times their own body weight, or whatever. They are super strong, and they will outbeat any regular human because of this super strength. And you've claimed to have met, observed, and witnessed one of these individuals prove this ability to you. In which case, I will challenge that, well, then that's magic. If they're literally doing that, that's magic. No. The vampire part isn't just... If you want to say any creature that is strong enough to just bench press a car casually is a vampire, then gorillas are vampires, or elephants are vampires. That doesn't make sense. A vampire's got to be a person, and they've got to exist and subsist off of blood. Otherwise, what's the point of calling them vampires? Why not just call them super strong people? And if you're saying you can flip a car, you mean you can just walk up with one hand and casually flip the car with no effort? I don't believe so. I will directly challenge you that that's not possible, unless you're trying to claim a car isn't a multi-hundred or thousand-ton brick of metal, and it's a creative styrofoam block the shape of a car. Oh, that's my blood gauge done. I'm just a mess right now. Ow. Oh, he grabbed me. Exactly, then you can't claim to be a vampire. So, we, again, don't know what a vampire is yet. You know some people, you personally know people that subsist entirely off of blood. And every other... Again, because you've not challenged that it's the entirely off of blood part that I'm trying to claim is the vampire. Because people can drink blood for sustenance. That's a thing people do. Mongolians mixed it with horse milk, horse blood and horse milk to gain a drink that was pretty casual. They ferment it. It was their like version of alcohol. Vampire bats, for example, are called as such because they are bats that primarily gain their nutrients off of blood. But a stereotypical vampire is somebody who is blood-powered exclusively. Now, again, they are proved that they have an impossible amount of human strength. A bodybuilder is not superhuman strength. A competition weightlifter is not superhuman. The point is they are human. Right? Having somebody who casually has blood in their milkshake in the morning and is stronger than you is not a proof of a superhuman vampire. What? Can this person casually bench press cars? If that's the case, then I would say yes, you have met somebody who is, at our level, superhumanly powerful and able to subsist entirely off blood. If so, I would recommend you take this nearest information to the nearest medical and science center and get $1 million as a finder fee, because you just proved that vampires are real. Otherwise, this is just a human being who is enjoying a casual weird blood slurry in continuation of their regular food. Oh, he got me with that. I don't know how to block that. Oh. Yeah. You'd rather take prison than $1 million? And advancing medical science ahead for everybody? What? What are you talking about? Now, the other thing is, if you are claiming to have met this person, but to not be willing to prove it, then we have to assume it's a lie because you're not willing to prove it. I'm sorry, I don't want to accuse you of lying, but if you are claiming to have met a person who is a vampire and has magical powers, or at least supernatural powers because of their blood consumption, and you say, but no, I won't show you, it's the same as saying, I own $1 million in my bank, but no, of course I can't show it to you or buy anything. Because it would be rude. Like, what does that mean? You deny your thirst. Now it's time to feast. Keep finding. Hit him. Never too late to bend the knee. Why would he do this? Why would that Axel do this? Yeah. You should have stopped by yesterday, Wolf. We had a really good philosophy stream going on. It was really interesting. Alright. I'm probably gonna have to call it for Guilty Gear. My hands are killing me. Ugh. Well, we've hit our 2-hour limit for fighting games, which is about the most I can do in one set, unless I'm pushing it. Yeah, no worries, no worries. I understand, Wolf. It's all good, but yeah. It was a fun stream. Well, then he's a bodybuilder. Then he's not a vampire. If you can't prove his vampiric powers, then we have to assume he's not a vampire. That's the problem with science, is if you want to claim something to be true, you have to produce evidence. Now, evidence can be set precedent of what we already believe, and that's valid. The problem is you're challenging a held belief. The held belief is that vampires aren't real. Your claim is as follows. No. I've met a vampire. I know he's a vampire because A, he drinks blood, and B, he is superhumanly strong, beyond what a human is. Well, no. That's the thing, is I could say that. But how would you test his superhuman strength? Did you arm wrestle him once? Did you take him into a weight gym and see, wow, he's lifting an 800-pound barbell? That's not physically possible. How is he doing that? If that's the case, then yeah, maybe I'll agree that you met someone who is superhumanly strong. But if they only ever performed feats of strength that are considered normal for a human, then he's probably not superhumanly strong. In the same way of, I've never met a dog that has 5 legs, so there probably aren't any dogs that have 5 legs. Right? Because I've never seen it, it's probably not true. Or I've never heard of a record of it. It's probably not true. And the problem here is, I don't want to talk you down, Chris, but you're a guy in the internet. You could be lying about anything. So, if you did have awareness that this person was superhumanly strong, and you could prove that they got their superhuman powers from something called, quote-unquote, vampirism, then it would be in your best interest to reveal this fact to the world. Because you would likely get a huge financial reward. Yeah, exactly. It could be that there are 5-legged dogs, but if I hear some guy on the internet say, no, I've got 10 5-legged dogs, trust me. I'm like, do you? I've never met a 5-legged dog. Right? I'm at that point where I wish I could take you for truth here, but I've never seen one, and I've never seen a picture of a healthy, non-mutated 5-legged dog. So I've got to assume dogs don't have 5 legs. Right? Or I could, for example, challenge the claim earlier about you being a bodybuilder. I could say, I'll prove it. I don't really care, so I'm not going to bother. But that could be where we take it. Until I've got proof that we have this long thought belief that vampires aren't real. And we've got a whole bunch of people who have claimed to be vampires and proven false. We've got a lot of reasons to believe that vampires are not real. If some random person says, no, I've met one though, I can either assume they lied to you, and you believed them, they are a vampire, or you are lying to me. Those are the only 3 outcomes. And the outcome of them being a vampire is astronomically lower than either of those other 2 things. So I'd require some form of physical proof. Right? If you see where I'm coming from with that. It's not that I want to inherently believe everybody's lying, but everybody who contests a long-held belief better be ready to back it up. Like, maybe it is true. Whatever, that's the case. Then why haven't you told anybody else? Why hasn't he told anybody? If it's because he has to kill everybody who finds out because he's afraid of being killed, how come he didn't kill you? Or, like, if you are willing to share the secret to a random streamer, then clearly you're not willing to keep his secret, so he should have no reason to trust you. You've just created a circumstance where I can't believe this guy is a vampire. Or this girl, I don't know. They could be a superhumanly strong woman. I don't know. Well, then, he is unbelievably strong, to the point where you have seen the things he does, and it is unbelievable to every level that this person is strong. Like, for example, he lifted an 800-pound barbell, or he can casually pick up 3 people with 1 arm, or he can jump to the top of a roof. What exact thing have you seen him do that is not believable of just some guy who lifted good once? Oh man, that couch sure was heavy to carry. I can't believe he moved it on his own. Well, yeah, people can do that. Heavy couches are movable with leverage and things. A truly unbelievable act of strength is something that is, by definition, unbelievable. It must be unable to be believed. Or at least extremely unlikely. And again, if your definition of a vampire is just somebody who is strong and sometimes drinks blood, then I'm going to challenge that that's not what a vampire is. A vampire has to have something else because a lot of animals consume blood and are strong. Like, does he have the ability to mind control? Does he burn up in the sun? Does he turn into a swarm of bats? Can he summon dogs? Can he burn himself on a touch of a cross? If all of these things, or at least most of them, then it's unequivocally a vampire. But if the only thing you are standing on is that I've seen the guy drink blood once and he's pretty strong, you're running a pretty weak argument as that vampires are real. I know a guy who's pretty strong. Does he have canines that are an inch in length and you've seen him drink blood out of somebody? Okay, maybe I'll believe you a little bit more. Has he casually lifted an actual unbelievable weight? I'll believe you a little bit more. Yeah. So what's to say it's not just that he's strong? What's to say that he's not just a good bodybuilder or a good dude who works out? If it's truly unbelievable, for example, this scrawny kid shows up one week and all of a sudden he's stronger than everybody, well, first you begin by eliminating likely alternatives. Maybe he's on steroids. Maybe he's got a natural genetic, predisposition towards being strong. Maybe he is just a big guy and is very strong. You can't just state, well, I've seen somebody who's strong, thus it must be because of vampirism. You have to challenge, well, could it just be natural strength? Could it be steroid use? Could it be the result of training that you don't see? If you know it's none of those things, then yes, it's likely that there is something going on to cause them to be extra strong. Then your definition of a vamp is very weak, because it doesn't have any true connection to any of the cultural significance of a vampire. Your definition you're postulating is that anybody who is strong and can drink blood is a vampire, means that anybody could be a vampire, so we've thrown the vampire definition out the window. Because anybody can drink blood. It's a normal thing for the human biology to be able to process blood. If he exclusively drank blood, your definition of a vampire might be stronger. If he was truly supernaturally strong, beyond any human, your definition might be stronger. If you said that, oh, well, they're also super fast, or they can also see perfectly in the dark, or has light up red eyes, or any of these additional things, you would say, okay, that's my definition of vampire, that's okay. But it's like me saying, well, if it's got wheels, and it goes fast, it's a monster truck. Oh, well, no. No. Cars can have wheels and go fast too. But it's got wheels and it goes fast. I call that a monster truck. Then your definition of monster truck is very weak. If all it is they're strong and can have blood, then your definition of a vampire is a weak definition. My definition of a phone is that it's electronic and allows me to communicate to other people. My computer is a phone. No, it's not how it works. You've got to postulate something unique, otherwise your definition is weak. Then it's probably just some guy who wants people to think he's a vampire, thus he drinks blood and is strong. It's very unlikely that he is a quote-unquote real vampire. Because we know, or at least we can assume, that real vampires are fake. Again, you're assuming that every observation you make about a person in particular is true. This person could just be lying. Maybe he's just a strong guy who wants you to think he's a vampire. That's the problem with proving vampires true when your definition is so weak. It's not a strong definition. If he always carried a bottle of blood and he could teleport, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Fair enough. He's probably an actual vampire. But as of yet, your definition doesn't include anything that excludes a regular dude who drinks blood and can lift weights from being a vampire. You need to have exclusions in your definition. You need to have a specific idea of what your thing is. Otherwise, your definition doesn't matter. We ran into this issue yesterday when we were asking, well, what's good and evil? I had to go and clearly define things that are good amongst a series of ways to decide what's evil. If you're trying to define something and claim it is real, when everybody says vampires are false, and you say, oh, well, no, I know a guy who drinks blood and is strong, most people will say, well, that's not a vampire. Yeah, exactly. So, you're telling me that this man is a vampire because you've decided that the definition of a vampire is this. Yet, we have a lot of examples of what a vampire traditionally has attributed to it. Vampires are, in general, super strong, super fast, super burn up in the sun. So your definition of a vampire is that anybody who drinks blood and is strong is counted as a vampire. Well, what if I raise the next level? How do you know he's strong? How do you know he hasn't replaced his weights with styrofoam? Have you met the dude and lifted his own weights? If so, okay, you can prove he's strong. How do you know he drinks nothing but blood? Have you taken the blood he drinks and compared it to the food he has and seen that it's blood primarily he drinks? Or is he maybe just lying to you? Yeah. And earlier, you said vampires don't exist. So your definition either is not this, or it is, in which case you believe it. Because your definition of a vampire doesn't exclude a gorilla. A gorilla who eats an animal, consumes its blood, and is very strong. Alright, everybody, vampires are now... all gorillas are vampires. Sorry, guys, it's the way it is. A definition has to be specific. It cannot be generalized. Now, if this guy stopped drinking blood, would he die? If that's the case, and like no other food would sustain him, well, okay, so you're into the issue is, I'm not saying my definition doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that we come to a definition that we both agree on. I'm saying that the definition you've put forward isn't a good definition of a vampire. Because of this, I would like you to give me a little bit more information of what else makes a vampire. How do we determine a vampire? Do vampires, shine like a light? I think traditionally no. But maybe your definition of a vampire is someone who is bioluminescent. In which case I'm like, alright, well, whatever. But whatever the case is, you've offered me two statements. Is strong, and has drunken blood in front of you. That's a pretty shitty definition for a cultural word that has definitions already. Vampires have had definitions for hundreds of years. No. No, Chris, that's not at all how it works. At that point, that statement, I don't know if you're attempting to be a troll and intentionally rile people up. If that's the case, I pity you. I think it's sad that you're not getting enough attention. Otherwise, you are woefully misinformed that because multiple people agree something, it makes their definitions invalid. If you truly believe that if multiple people agree on something, then that makes the definition or agreement invalid, then I would please recommend you read a single peer-reviewed study and come to the conclusion that people can agree on something and not be wrong by default. There's a lot of people who believe the Earth is flat, but there's a lot more people who believe it isn't. That doesn't make, because there's more people who believe it's round, makes the Earth being flat by default. Each of us have our own point of view. Sure, maybe you say that me and Wolf have a different definition of vampire. But me and Wolf could probably narrow down our definition until we come to an adequate conclusion. Maybe Wolf believes that all vampires instantly burn to dust in sunlight. Maybe I believe that vampires don't. So we come to an agreement that, okay, for now, we'll assume that they don't. No, your argument's not invalid because you're outnumbered. Your argument is invalid because you're not putting together a good argument. Your argument doesn't have the rational decisions of because and thus. You need to come up with a reason, an origin point. Come up with a hypothesis, explain why your hypothesis is valid, prove the hypothesis is valid, and come to a conclusion. From what I've gathered, your hypothesis is that vampires exist for sure because a vampire is someone who is strong and drinks blood, and I have seen somebody who is strong and drinks blood. Thus, vampires, as I've defined them, exist. That is your logical argument. It goes to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, conclusion. I'm arguing that your definition of a vampire does not match up to any language definition of a vampire. A vampire must be more than just regularly strong and regularly sometimes drinks blood. I don't mind if this guy is a real vampire. I would be ecstatic to learn that this man is a vampire. But you must trust, but verify. I trust that you are trying to make a logical outcome, so I must verify that your argument is sound. I could just say, I've met a werewolf. One of my friends turns into a dog sometimes. Now, you would have to say, okay, have you really? I'd be like, yeah, I have. Can you prove it? No. Okay, what is step 1? I'm not even trying to challenge the you have or have you, can you prove it? I'm trying to, because I can't. You're a guy on the internet. You could be believing anything. You could be telling me anything. I'm trying to challenge that, like I said, your definition is a poor one. And make you either come to an agreement that your definition is a poor one, or provide me with a new definition that closely matches your currently held beliefs. I can go and prove. I can pull up Wikipedia right now and take a look at what is a vampire. A vampire is a creature from folklore that subsists on feeding the vital essence, generally in the form of blood, in the living. In European folklore, they are undead creatures, often visited loved ones, and cause mixed for deaths for the neighbors they habited when they were alive. Okay, so you would like to probably postulate a new idea. Okay, vampires don't have to be undead. Alright, sure. What do vampires have to be, though? Well, your statement is that they have to be strong, and that they have to drink blood. Well, does he have to drink blood? Or does he just drink blood? Because a lot of people can drink blood and be normal. Yes, I'm trying to verify. I'm trying to come to a point where I understand where you're coming from. I'm trying to find... You hold up a piece of paper, and you tell me, this piece of paper cannot be broken. So I'm like, alright, I trust that you think that's true, but I'm gonna take a pair of scissors to it anyway. And all of a sudden, I find that my scissors cut the piece of paper. So I ask you, hey, can this piece of paper be broken? And you're like, oh, no, I didn't mean by scissors. I meant by light touches of feathers. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a pretty shitty definition of can't be broken. A vampire, by definition, is a magical paranormal creature. You say, oh, well, they exist because I've seen one. And I'm like, I want to believe you've seen one. Let's find out more about this vampire. And you've backpedaled down to, well, I don't know if he needs it. I don't know if he's really strong. He's just some guy who's drunk in blood in front of me, and I've seen him lift heavy things. That doesn't make me want to believe in vampires anymore. You've not convinced me of anything. I would love if this dude is a real vampire. Please give me more information about his vampiric powers or the ability to be a vampire. What? Culture, language, past beliefs and precedent, religion, theology, the idea that people are afraid of death because the idea of a vampire coming back to life. Vampires have been around for a very, very long time, and they have had dozens of different definitions. You are attempting to present a brand new definition that no one has ever put forward, or at least I've never heard of before. You're not saying, oh, well, its arms are stiff because of its rot. You're not saying that he has... You're not even saying he has fangs. Like, you've prevented nothing to convince me that he's a vampire other than, well, he's strong and he drinks blood. I'm saying that's not good enough for me to believe in vampires. Maybe if his blood was circulating around his body, creating super strong muscles, and you could prove it. Maybe he doesn't have bones, and you say that, oh yeah, all vampires are simply held up by tough blood. I'm saying that can't have proof because they're not real. That's my point, is I'm saying there is no proof because vampires aren't real. These are what we understand vampires to be. No one has been able to prove their existence. Thus, vampires are not real. So, of course, you've come along saying that vampires are real, and I'm like, okay, why? Oh, because I know a dude, and I'm questioning, okay, what part of this idea of a vampire, this cultural mimetic idea of a vampire that everybody shares, what part of those things does he do? And you answer that he drinks blood and is strong. Well, I'm saying that people who are not vampires can drink blood and are strong, thus I have no reason to believe he's a vampire. Find something that is unique to the idea of a vampire, or in the case of he excludes the other options. That's another choice. Prove to me that the other options, for example, steroids, whatever, aren't real, and I will be more likely to believe you. I'm just trying to find... You're right. My idea of vampires are set by the word vampire, having a definition already. That's like saying, oh yeah, I invented a new color the other day, it's called blue. And you're like, no, blue already has a color. No. My blue is different. What? Why? What color is it? Well, it's blue. You've created a new word. If you're trying to argue that vampires are real, you either have to work within the constraints that everybody in the universe works with, or come up with a new word, then you're not arguing about vampires anymore. Then you're just arguing that you've got a strong friend who drinks blood. That doesn't make him a vampire. Vampire has a definition. By saying vampires are real, you're agreeing to work within that definition. Otherwise, you're trying to find a new definition, which would be fair. Yeah, so if you're trying to say that, well, strength in drinking blood is part of vampiric lore, that's okay. What other parts of vampiric lore... Oh my god. No. No, that's not... It's not how exclusions work. you can't say X isn't real, but this X is real. That's not how it works. You have to say most X's aren't real, but this X is. That's a fair statement. If you want to say, oh yeah, most ideas of vampires aren't real, but mine is, then I'm saying, well, your idea of a vampire is a failure of a vampire. It's not a good definition. It doesn't accomplish getting across the mimetic idea of when you say vampire, people will agree with you. No, it's just a person. If you are so certain he is a vampire, then you will be able to prove to me in some way that he is not a regular person who sometimes drinks blood. If you're saying a regular person who sometimes drinks blood is a vampire, then I'm going to argue your definition sucks and that's not true. At least this audio track jams, though. Yeah. Which means you have the burden of proof. People don't have the burden to believe you. You have the burden to prove what you are saying is true. So when people question you, you must have a defense. Alright, good luck with your work, Wolf. I'm going to be shutting this down pretty soon. I just wanted to get across the idea that you cannot simultaneously say, I do not believe in vampires, and also, I know a vampire. You have to produce a definition. Your definition is weak. It's a bad definition. That it's just somebody who is strong and drinks blood, because other people can be strong and drink blood. So why is he specifically a vampire? Why is he not just a strong person who drinks blood? What makes him a vampire in particular? Sure, that's okay. That's fine. Now, I'm going to challenge, I don't believe that your definition of a vampire is an accurate definition. I'm saying that I have no reason to believe that a strong guy who drinks blood sometimes is a vampire. You must give me additional proof before I can assume that he doesn't just have steroids, or that his blood isn't just a red syrup he drinks. I have the burden, or I don't have the burden of, but I have the ability to be skeptical. That's the point. If somebody claims, well, I don't believe in your version of God, but I believe in my version of God, I have the right to question, well, what is your God? What makes them a god? How do you know they're a god? Can you prove it? Then stop using the old word associated with the old definition. That's like I said earlier. If you say that I don't believe your definition of monster trucks are anything, but my definition of monster truck is anything with four wheels that goes fast, I'm gonna say, well, your definition of monster truck sucks, because monster truck already means something else. Why are you trying to reuse it to be this really weak general category? We already have words for that general category, like car or vehicle. You're using the word vampire to describe something that I have no reason to associate with the idea of vampires. That's where I'm starting to get caught up here. A weightlifter. Or maybe a strong person, a strong man, or a bodybuilder. Yeah. Do I have to say, well, I'm a teacher who reads books? No. No, that doesn't, you don't need to state that. I'm a weightlifter who sometimes has an orange in the morning. Well, no, lots of people can drink oranges. That doesn't necessitate you to being something. The blood here, I'm arguing, doesn't matter. unless you can prove that he is strong because of the blood, I have to assume that the blood doesn't matter, right? Are you now a bodybuilder who eat oranges? We're not going to create a new word for you. You're simply a bodybuilder or a streamer or whatever, right? We don't have to make a new word. A word already exists for other things, right? The blood, I'm trying to say, doesn't matter because your definition is so weak that it doesn't touch. Oh yeah, no, I drive a car that has wheels. Well, what else would your car have? I mean, maybe if you said I drive a car that has treads, I'd be like, alright, that's weird and different. Right? Exactly. But then you might come up with a new word for it. But you don't need to because enough things have that. We have words for it. Oh, it's a half track. We already know what those are. Or it's a tank. Or it's a treaded APC. Or whatever, right? We've got words for these things. I don't need to create a new one. We have words for bodybuilders. The reason why we don't have words for somebody who drinks blood is because lots of people can drink blood. It doesn't matter. And welcome back, Pepsi. You're coming at the bottom end of this stream. I'm going to be calling it pretty soon. I'm just trying to get my point across that the term vampire, meaning somebody who is strong and drinks blood sometimes, is not a strong enough correlation to the idea that most people have a vampire. It is a failure of a definition because it doesn't bring any new information and it doesn't exclude any other rationale explanations. It's simply just saying, it is what it is because I said so. Doesn't mean anything. You have to have some new idea. Maybe your definition of vampires all have something that nobody else does. And you can prove that he does this thing that nobody else does. If that's the case, then sure, I'll agree with your new definition of vampire. But he doesn't. All he is a dude who's regularly strong, or at least stronger than you, and drinks blood sometimes. We don't know how often, we don't know exclusively, we just know that he's done it before. Exactly, Bepsy. Dr. Frankenstein was a bodybuilder, but right. Okay, so I'm gonna call it because I'm very tired.